other sound? Just play the sound. No sound.
A very good morning to one and all. On behalf of Principal Dr. Katie Thomas, Management, and the staff of St. Francis de Sales College, Nagpur, I, Ms. Survi Halde, Assistant Professor, Department of Computer Science, and your host of the session. I extend a warm welcome to our delegate speaker and our dear students for Tech Kasuri, the 3-day soft skill boot camp. Placement training plays a major role in shaping up the career goals of students. It is the dream of every student to get placed in a top organization visiting their campus for equity. Training of students and equipping them with life skills has become an important responsibility of the institution. I feel honored to introduce our esteemed institution, St. Francis de Sales College. It was established with immense gladness to introduce our speaker, Mr. Vinay Chawla, a passionate international motivator and facilitator on a mission to empower youth. Founder of Enlighten the Soul, an international enterprise into motivation manufacturing. He was awarded as a youth motivator and trainer under an initiative of HRD Ministry India. He is associated with Tata Institute of Social Science, that is TISS Bombay. He delivered a TDX talk SED under an initiative of HRD Ministry India. He delivered a lot of programs for initiatives under Ministry of Youth Affairs and Sports India. He worked with Ministry of MSME on ideas, passion and innovation. He is very passionate and has a vision for innovative social change. He also worked for Mindset and Vision schools, colleges, coaching institutes, Central Jail and Associates. He took initiative under Ministry of Youth Affairs and Sports. ETS has not only covered urban groups but also has done lot of work with rural youth groups and did a lot of programs for them. He delivered a SED talk on Youth Dynamics 2020 in a program which was hosted under the initiative of HRD Ministry India. Corporate Groups ETS runs a module for a lot of corporate groups and retail stores for activity based learning and outbound learning. His social contribution, social purpose and contribution ETS runs a social initiative named Pagal Hai Tu, working for unknown patients and animal care. ETS runs a discussion forum named Wings of Wisdom. Now, I request Vinay Chawla sir to please guide and motivate our students. Please sir.
So, very good morning.
Good morning.
Is it audible, clearly visible?
Yes.
Okay. So very good morning to one and all. I would like to start by thanking SFS College Father, Dr. Dilip and the whole team and the youthful students for actually being here. I mean, in the lockdown and then online with so enthusiasm. So this is welcome to Enlightened Soul Kickstart. We've named this 3-day workshop as Persona, like Sir has already given, and Campus Kickstart. So here you will have a lot of non-judgmental activities. We'll discuss a lot of things regarding a lot of aspects about placements, about your self, career, and you are free to ask questions, whatever comes in your mind. Like, so obviously there are some challenges in the online format, but there are some advantages too. So Microsoft Teams, we're taking sessions for the first time, like we used to conduct in some other platforms, but it's really nice. It's good to explore and learn, and it's really very helpful and amazing. So guys, any doubt you can like ask, or probably any difficulty, or maybe so as said, we will be discussing about a lot of core concepts on, as I said, analysis, and then maybe yourself, about group discussions. We'll have a lot of mock GDs, PIs here itself, right? Okay, so I think it's clearly any difficulty in the voice or any difficulty in the audio, please, if you can let me know. Is it clear?
All right, sir.
Yeah. Okay, just a moment. Okay. Just minimizing the same. Okay, so Dilip sir, we have time till 12, right?
Sir, yes.
Okay,
Yes,
great.
yes.
So before start, I would like to say day one. Today is day one, and today we'll be covering the basic self communication and what is expected in corporate. So like sir told me, we have students from, even they have invited students from other colleges, and you have students from all years. So sir, we have students from like first year to final year every year,
Yes.
right? Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Great. Okay. So like if students are from all years, we'll be covering the general aspects of everything, placements. So today, the agenda for today's session will be a brief of communication as to how you should communicate, how communication helps you, one, and second, what are the expectations in corporate, and what do they expect you when you land down to corporate, and we will discuss the multiple areas in corporate, like what happens in a startup, or probably what happens if you get into a core company, or if you get into an IT company. So this is how the agenda we'll discuss today. And it's not a one-way thing, it's a two-way thing. You're free to ask, maybe write in the chat, or whatever you feel like, whatever doubts you have, difficulties you have, right? So it's a non-judgmental forum, okay? One, tomorrow we'll be discussing majorly about motivational things and the group discussion part, as to how the group activities are conducted, why they are conducted, what are the types, and we'll have a mock GDR. And then on the third day, we'll have a brief about how you write a resume, and why resume, and then why interview, and what are the interview techniques, and probably in the interview how to go about things, where to say what, and then we'll have a mock interview as well, even about the telephonic interview and a normal interview. Okay, so I'm cross-checking again. So it's clear, or I'm going fast?
No, sir, it's okay.
It's clear? All
Yes,
right.
yes, yes.
Great.
Yes.
Great. Amazing. Okay, so day one, guys, let's start. Okay. Okay, so day one, again, in the day one, if I bifurcate, we'll first start with the icebreakers. Then we will do some motivational story, I'll tell you. And then we'll do a self activity after that for the agenda. After that, we'll be covering the majorly the communication part, and then the corporate expectations. All right. So Enlighten the Soul, as they already said, is an enterprise. You can check the pages on Facebook, Instagram. It's into activity-based learning, and we are thankful to SFS and the community for understanding and like feeling that it can really help students. All right. Okay. So I myself is an alumni of SFS school. So there's an always emotion attached. Okay. There's always a string attached. All right. Great. So like we start. Okay. So I just want, we will do an icebreaker now. I know it's not a classroom, but still, at least for the breaking of like just for the refreshment, we'll do something. Okay. So when I say stand, you have to stand. And when I say sit, you have to sit. Okay. So when I say stand, you have to stand. And when I say sit, you have to sit. Okay. Clear? Any doubt, guys? Okay. Stand. Sit. Stand. Sit. Stand. Okay, now when I say left, you have to see left. When I say right, you have to see right. Okay, left, right, left, right, left. Now you have to swap. When I say stand, you have to sit. When I say sit, you have to stand. Okay, okay. Stand, sit, 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 stand, sit, stand, sit. Okay, now swapping of left, right. When I say left, you have to see right. When I say right, you have to see left. Okay, so this is left brain, right brain coordination. Left, right, 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 left, right. Now you have to do the mix of both. So can I see you guys? So is it possible if I can see they can start the cameras for the last round of the activity, or there's a bandwidth? It will affect the bandwidth.
No, sir, it's not possible because this is a live event.
No worries.
So
No worries. Yeah, no problem. Okay, well, so now you'll be doing the mix of both and ulta. So it's gonna be mix of both for left brain, right brain coordination. And I want you to get refreshed and let we start. Okay, so left ka right ka left, and stand ka sit ka stand. Okay, all right, stand. Okay, okay, sit. Okay, left, left, right, left, stand. Okay, so now everybody can sit. I hope you guys have done the same and have a basic refreshment so that at least your comfort zone has broken, and then we can start, right? All right, great. Well, so now we will start with a small story. So the story is about, and you guys are okay with Hindi English both, or I should speak only in English? Sir, are they free with both the languages, or the mix of it, or only English?
Mix of it, sir.
All right, great. Well, so guys, now I'll share a story. So once upon a time, एक बार क्या होता है, अमेरिका के एक हॉस्पिटल में एक बच्चा जन्म लेता है, ठीक है? अमेरिका के एक हॉस्पिटल में एक बच्चा टेक्स अ बर्थ, ओके? तो बच्चा जैसे ही दुनिया में आता है, जैसे ही डॉक्टर्स के हाथ में आता है, डॉक्टर देखते हैं उसके दोनों हाथ नहीं है, दोनों पैर नहीं है। गौर से सुनना, दोनों हाथ नहीं है, दोनों पैर नहीं है, राइट? अब डॉक्टर सोचता है ऐसे कैसे हुआ, डॉक्टर को पता नहीं पड़ पाता है, लेकिन बच्चा, द बेबी वाज क्राइंग मींस ही वाज अलाइव, ओके? बच्चा जिंदा होता है, बट दोनों हाथ नहीं है, दोनों पैर नहीं है। डॉक्टर सोचता है ऐसे कैसे हुआ, पूरा पता करता है, नहीं पता पड़ पाता है, ओके? Somehow the complete hospital gets shattered, the city gets shattered, the country gets shattered. कैसा हुआ कैसे? Somehow they accept, they go to the family, okay? They give the child to the guardians, to the family. जैसे ही बच्चा उनके guardians के हाथ में आता है, वो लोग बहुत, they start crying. They say, doctor, everything is okay, but how will he survive? How will he do his basic things? How will he walk? How will he do his daily living? Like he has no legs, no arms. Right? How can he live with his daily things? Everything else is secondary. Right? Going to the college, studying and doing something is altogether secondary, but how will he do his basic things? Was the question, right? So everything was like the environment becomes sad. Somehow the parents go to their own place. वो अपने घर जाते हैं. All the relatives come. It is the environment of sadness, and then everybody is like, how will he do things like that, right? Somehow कुछ साल जाते हैं, they accept it, and कुछ साल जाते हैं, कुछ साल और जाते हैं, उसका स्कूल जाने का टाइम आता है. जैसे ही बच्चा स्कूल जाने लगता है, तो जैसे ही बच्चा स्कूल जाने लगता है, in some years the friends start teasing him. He gets demoralized. The child gets demoralized. Okay. Somehow in some years ahead, एक दिन ऐसा आता है जिस दिन the thought process of the child comes, and then probably he starts thinking from another perspective. एक दिन ऐसा आता है जिस दिन वो सोचता है कि what God has not given me, I will not count that. What God has given me, I'll count that. That's more than sufficient. That's more than enough. Right? So the day comes. He says, जो मुझे नहीं मिला है मैं उसका नहीं सोचूंगा, जो मिला है उसका सोचूंगा, और जो मुझे मिला है वो बहुत है. Right? So now I will. This is like, I'll share the screen now, and then I'll share the image. Just a minute, of the person I'm speaking. You guys can see this? Can you see this, guys? So this is the story of this boy. If you can see this, right? All right. So the story of this guy. Okay. Moment. All right. So, okay. So this guy is called Nick Vujicic. He is known as one of the best motivational guys of the world right now. आज उनकी 2 कंपनियां चलती हैं, लाखों लोग उनके साथ काम करते हैं, राइट? एक टाइम था जब वो बेसिक लाइफ नहीं जी पा रहे थे. आज उन्होंने सब किया. एक ही चीज थी जिसने कराया, वो था उनका खुद का बिलीफ कि मैं कर सकता हूं. इट स्टार्ट्स विथ योर बिलीफ सिस्टम, राइट? आप उनके अगर यूट्यूब पे वीडियोस देखोगे, निक व्यूजिक, एटीट्यूड इज एल्टीट्यूड. आज वो ऐसी चीजें करते हैं जो आप सोच भी नहीं सकते. स्कूबा डाइविंग, स्काई डाइविंग, मोटिवेशनल वर्कशॉप्स अक्रॉस द ग्लोब. एक टाइम था जब उनकी लाइफ में बेसिक चीजें नहीं कर पा रहे थे, राइट? हमारी लाइफ में प्रॉब्लम्स आते हैं, सर फोकस नहीं लग रहा, सर कंफ्यूजन है, सर मैं कैसे करूं सर, एंड आई एम नॉट एबल टू डू दिस, आई हैव दिस प्रॉब्लम. उनकी लाइफ में तो बेसिक लाइफ जीने के वादे थे यार. आज उन्होंने सब किया. एक ही चीज थी जिसने कराया, वो था उसका खुद का बिलीफ कि मैं कर सकता हूं. It starts with your belief system, right? It ends with your belief system. You start with your belief system. Everything depends on your belief system, I mean. Right? So start believing in yourself, things change. If you start believing, things will change and your execution style will change. Your action plan will change. So the reason I took it first is it starts with your belief system. Believe, guys. Right? Okay. Well, moving ahead. So one, remember, your belief system is very important. It's how you believe in yourself, right? All right. Well, so now we'll move to the next part. And I want you to take out your pen and paper for this so that it's just not a session, so that you jot down and make things happen, you write it here itself. And that is the reason we have extended time to 1.5 hours. So that I want you to make things, do it here, right? Okay. So there's an important activity. I know that the time is less. I cannot get into much depth, but just a brief of it. So now we will be doing an activity on self, right? Which you might have done, but it's really important to understand. So I want you to write down, take out your pen and paper, and then note it, think, and jot it right now here. Okay. So the activity name, as you can see, is you guys can see this. The activity name is SWOT analysis. So you have to make 4 quadrants like this. And in the first quadrant, you will write S. Second, you will write W, and then here O, and then T. So S stands for strength. W stands for weaknesses.
Weaknesses.
O stands for opportunities, and T stands for threats. So if you guys have done, you please analyze it and write it now. I'll give you 3-4 minutes. Please understand, don't copy, ask yourself what are your strengths, and then I'll tell you the brief of it and how it will help you in multiple aspects. Right? So whenever you go for your interview, for your resume building, for your company, for your maybe your internships, maybe your project analysis, project reports, everything, anywhere, everywhere. Maybe when you land up into higher studies, anywhere you go, this will help you because this is about yourself. So I want you to write down, analyze with yourself, write your strengths. Then we'll come to communication in corporate because this is the core of things, And analyze, talk to yourself, don't copy from others. Write your strengths, write your weaknesses, write your opportunities, and write your threats. First, you write this, take 2-3 minutes. Okay, write this, and then we'll discuss after 2 minutes. Right? I want you to think and write. That's very important. Okay, and how strengths are linked to your opportunities. What are internal? What are external? That I'll tell you after you note it down. If you have any doubt, you can write in the chat. You can ask me. The forum is open. It's for you. Strength means your core competencies. Means what are you good at. Right? Weaknesses means your barriers, your obstacles. Opportunities means from your strengths, what are the opportunities opening up? What are the gates for you? For example, if I'm good at communication, there are opportunities in communication sectors. Example, right? If I'm good at coding, if I'm good at computer application, so on and so forth. And threat means the barriers, the obstacles related to your weaknesses. For example, I am weak at maybe I'm weak at vocabulary. So if in content writing, maybe in email writing, it becomes a threat for me. It becomes a barrier and an obstacle for me. So in these days, threat is also called challenges. So it's also a SWOT analysis instead of SWOT analysis, right? Different people call it in a different way, right? And so weaknesses means again things which you need to improve, your scope of improvements, right? Okay. Take 2 minutes, jot it down. Any questions, queries, you can ask and maybe write in the chat button. 2 minutes, yeah. You can ask. Feel free to ask. It's an open forum, right? No one will judge you. It's a non-judgmental space, okay? And not only today, like even tomorrow, day after, whenever you feel like we're always there to help you, right? Okay. Just take time. If you need 2 more minutes, just take. I want you to analyze, think, and write. And don't lie yourself. Be open to yourself because that will help you to improve. Okay? Yeah. Any queries you can write on the chat button, or maybe you can ask. Okay, 1 more minute, guys. So see, because we have less time, so I cannot give you, because this is an activity. This is itself a session, a full day activity, SWOT analysis. But because we have less time, but I wanted you to like note of this and have at least a gist of it, so that after the session you can take time and then maybe discuss with your own self and write it down. Right? 1 more minute. Yeah. Okay, so any doubt, guys? I hope you have done the same. So again, so if I'll just re like revise the same. So again, so these, as you can see, S is for strength, weaknesses, opportunity, and threats. In this, the strength is linked with the opportunities, right? And weaknesses are linked with threats. So means so the strengths you have will open doors for opportunities, and your scope of improvements will act like the weaknesses will act as a barriers and the obstacles, right? One. And strength and weaknesses are internal. So you don't have control over opportunities and threats. You have control over your strengths and weaknesses. So if you have control and you work upon this area, the internal part, that will help you to overcome the external part. So obviously, if you work on your weaknesses, your barriers will be less. If you work on your strengths more, you have more opportunities. Simple. So why I'm telling you this, because it's very important for you to understand, analyze, and then make. So there are people who, so it's always suggested you analyze this analysis and then strategically make paths, discuss with your mentors, teachers, and then strategically make directions. Right? All right. Any doubt till now? Any queries till now? Any questions? Please come up. Feel free to ask anything you want. All right. Well, so now we'll come to the next part of the session, which is the communication part. Okay. So what exactly is communication? Why are we covering it? And how do we go about it? Right. So first of all, I would like to say why. Right? Okay. So why communication is included? Because it is the core of everything, right? Everything means you start without communication. How will you interact? How will you send your messages from the sender? How will your message anything you want to say in the written format? So the communication is an integral and the core part of the probably the what you call the transaction, or it's the part of it, right? Or maybe whatever you want to discuss, or maybe you want to send information from one end to another end in the form of a call, or maybe form of text, form of email, whatever. So that is the reason telling you, and there are proper etiquettes to it, and that is the reason it's an important part and included as an integral part of the whole workshop, so that you improve it, understand it first, and then improve it so that it becomes better for you, and in a smart way, so that it's effective when you land into corporate or any other stream probably. And communication etiquettes you learn for understanding self and for better ease of efficiency in work and other aspects, right? Okay. So now this is I said why, how you will understand, and what obviously you know. So now I'm sharing the screen, and there's a PPT which is like there for communication. This PPT is a general PPT um, used by used in, and as you can see, I've purposely like just a moment. I hope you guys can see the same. Okay, so I hope you can see the screen, right? Hello.
Yes, sir. It's okay.
Okay. All right. So you can see I have purposely kept in two languages because this is also shown to a lot of rural groups, and then people, because it's the core, as I said, and used with a lot of rules. It's the base of things, and it's important for people to understand. I know there are some basic things as well. So communication skills again is an important and integral part, as I said, and as you can see in the image, so the person is trying to say something to another person. Okay. So communication is a process, okay? So it's a process from where there's a sender and there's a receiver, okay? And as you can see, so probably, and you send it through a channel. So then channel can be multiple, which we'll see. And again, the receiver can send back the feedback. The channel can be verbal, channel can be, and you can see the noise which is there in between are the attenuations. So there are barriers also, and then probably there are coded languages and any written format, verbal format, maybe like you can see code, decode, a lot of formats is a process. Communication is a process in which there's a sender and the receiver, right? So there are a few types to it, which is one is written. Written means now how this is helpful, how this format is helpful for you. So probably when you code, or maybe maybe when you write something on the computer, maybe there's a code language, or maybe an email, or maybe probably this is an important. So you have to understand that how important it is, and how you have to learn that to write it properly, so that probably that's a core aspect which will help you in when you land up into corporate, and you have to learn the email etiquettes, the written etiquettes, which is the formal language, what are the words, what are the jargons used, and then so a lot of things are there. This is just to tell you a brief visualization so that you get more curiosity to learn and understand things, right? Okay. So one form is written. Written has, as I said, email and other stuff. Maybe letters, and in previously people used to write chittis and stuff like that. So next is the verbal part, which we are doing it right now. Online, again, verbal. So I am saying something and you are receiving something. So that's the verbal communication. Okay. So verbal again has a few aspects which you need to understand. Okay. So verbal has two major aspects called the tone and the pitch. So when you understand about, when you land up into maybe corporate, or maybe you guys are getting into professional world, into corporate world. Okay, so you guys are already entering into the learning the professional world. So you have to understand which tone to speak where, right? For example, that is the reason they say you be a part of a lot of activities in the college, and then you learn. So when you talk to your batchmates, when you talk to your seniors, when you talk to your teachers, when you talk to your elders, when you talk to your family members, or maybe corporate some seniors, when you land up as a junior. So tone means, for example, I'll tell you what do you mean by a tone. So tone and pitch again are important aspects. For example, we say, somebody asks us, we say, Acha. So see, again, the word is same. Acha. Okay. So again, you see the tone itself says something. So when you say Acha, means there's a question mark. Then you say, okay. Okay. So again, there's an exclamatory. So again, tone matters, So tone speaks a lot. Okay. So you have to understand where you are speaking what. Maybe in a corporate, it has to be very subtle, simple, and when you are speaking with your senior, so that the tone has to be different. Okay. So I'm not saying when you're talking to your juniors, it has to be different. Again, it has to be as per the context, but very sober, decent, and professional. Okay. And slowly, steadily, you'll understand. So again, I will speak this in corporate. So I'm everything I'm linking with the professional, because you guys will be entering maybe higher studies, maybe companies and professional world. So in the corporate expectation, we'll cover the same, but I'm just linking with the corporate part as well. Okay, because it's campus kickstart. So tone again, you have to understand that when you are entering the corporate aspect. You have to understand which tone. Your tone cannot be very like it has to be very simple, subtle, and when you're learning, probably when you've entered the organization. So it has to be very open and learning, and you cannot be like rude, and you cannot be very sarcastic and stuff like that, right? It has to be very simple. And pitch again is also about the loudness also. But pitch again, you have to understand. For example, if I say so again, you saw, so there was a difference in the pitch. So again, your pitch also has to be very simple, decent, and it has to fit in the context, understanding. So it differs from context to context. Obviously, if you're working in an industry, in a factory, so obviously the work atmosphere is different. If you're working in a corporate environment where there's only, you need to talk to your clients on via the phone, it has to be different. If you interact in a chamber room, obviously it has to be a bit higher. So understand. It differs from context to context. We'll discuss in the corporate expectations. All right. This is an important part of communication which people ignore. Is called the non-verbal. I'm just a moment. Purposely, I'm removing the screen part. So you can see me now. Can you see me now, guys?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. So non-verbal part is an important part in communication, which a lot of people ignore. So why I am telling you is the importance is, for example, what you don't say by words is being seen by your eyes. Okay. So I'll tell you. I'll share the screen again. One more important slide in the non-verbal communication. We'll speak about your maybe your facial expressions. Your eyes also speak an important part. Your gestures and your postures. So I'll share that screen again. I'll show you by doing it what means what and how it is helpful to you, right? Okay. Why I took it for the first day was because I wanted you to understand the importance of the same. Okay. So non-verbal communication has these major 4 aspects. One is the eye contact. So eye contact is very important. It looks very professional. So I'll tell you by doing a demo. Next is your expressions. Again, very important. They speak a lot. So what you don't speak, your expression speaks. Your hand movements, that they are your, what do you call it? Gestures. And your body language is your postures, right? So there are different words to the same. Okay, so I'll do the same now. I'll show you how it actually is, right? So see again. So for example, they call it first about the eye contact. So eye contact has to be very sober, decent. You cannot put your eyes like this and just, well, then you don't have to do like that. And when you're talking to a person, don't try to see somewhere else. Try to maintain eye contact. One. Okay, when you have a handshake, when you do a handshake, a firm handshake is recommended, right? No, but not, you have to see the space and do accordingly, right? You have to understand that, just a moment. Okay, so firm handshake is recommended, not a very, like, you should not do a handshake which should hurt somebody, right? Everybody knows that everybody has strength, and don't do your handshake like this. Like you're catching a bad napkin, okay? No. Firm handshake, eye to eye contact, and gentle smile. You don't have to be like a big, gentle smile, sober smile, okay? And expressions are also very important. You don't have to over smile, but that is recommended in a very sober and a decent outlook, okay? Your maybe when you are in a GD, or maybe when you are in a PI, or maybe when you are in a corporate. So this chin when ahead means when it is like this, it indicates rudeness at times, and when it indicates submissiveness. So it has to be firm, assertive, right? Okay. And when about this as well, when it's very much backside in the GD, also in the PI, it looks that you're very laid back. It's a general format, differ from context to context. And when you are very much ahead, it looks like you're very much eager. So eagerness is good, but it has to be balanced. It has to be confident. You should not look very much. It should look confident. That's it, right? And your hand movement should also be decent like this. It is okay. Don't do too much hand movements like this. Okay, and this also shows a sign of nervousness when people carry a pen in the interview and do like this. This is also a sign of so, and they try to shake their legs. So try to be confident. Try to be in the present, and try to have to, but don't just be like a robot and sit like that, because sir, you told me that you have to be in that loop, you have to be in the closed room, you don't have to expand. Be comfortable, be yourself. Don't be a robot. I've seen people in the GD, they are doing like this. I tell them to be comfortable, be relaxed. Right? So this is again an important part of what you call it, a very important part of communication, which is the non-verbal part. And it is, as communication was a part of it, you have to understand with respect to your organization, the corporate, maybe when you appear for the group discussions, where you appear for the interview, right? So there are 7 C's which they have done in communication. So first is when you speak, or probably what your non-verbal is saying when you are speaking or when you're writing, it has to be very clear. The communication, there should be a clarity in the communication, very clear. Okay. And next is the completeness. So there are people I have seen, I want to say, guys, that there's a front room and they're quiet. Okay. So it has to be complete. The communication should be complete. That's very important. Third is conciseness. So it has to be concise, to the point. Guys, I came yesterday morning, and then I saw somebody was on the tea table, and then the fan was not on. There was a dust. Come to the point. You want to say that, your register was not on the table? Come to the point. The register was missing. Has anybody seen the register? So it also has to be very concrete. So there are people that speak haywire and stuff like that. It has to be very concrete. Okay? So that it is easy for the receiver to understand. Courtesy is also a very important point in communication. You have to understand, to be courteous as well, right? Okay. Correctness again is another element. You guys understand the words, right? And considerable. You have to understand. You have to be considerable. There are times when people don't understand. You have to repeat it, and you have to be clear. There are times when you elongate. So considerable. You have to understand that everybody, the understanding level is different, and the grasping capacity is different. So now we come to the barriers. What makes the communication what becomes the barriers usually? What becomes the obstacles? So there are times the language is a big barrier. So for example, somebody is trying to speak in Marathi or maybe in Tamil. So you are not able to understand in the same language. That is a big barrier at times. You have to understand in communication. That is the reason local companies, they try to keep preference as the local language, because it helps them, the clients. So the English is a standard language, but there are times when, so it connects also. The communication is a big parameter to connect. So majorly with the clients and stuff. So majorly English is used in professional world, but I'm just telling you because it's part of the slide that it becomes a barrier at times. Okay. So maybe then, like in China, they only speak in Chinese. Not even, I think, majority people in the business sector, they don't even communicate in English also. Okay. Like if you go to cities like countries like Singapore, Dubai, so they take the language, English is used. But again, the accent, and America, the accent is different. So on and so forth. Emotional barriers are a big barriers. For example, there are people in communication, they close up their barriers because of emotional grounds. So the sender sends the signal, but because of the emotional barriers, the signal is not going here. So emotional barrier becomes is a big barrier at times. Physical barriers, for example, you are trying to say somebody, but he's physically far away. So he or she is physically far away, so you're not able to communicate. That's a physical barrier. So interpersonal barriers. So maybe there are some interpersonal things with maybe happens with your team members, your colleagues. So that becomes the barrier is shut. They are not able to hear means they don't want to hear. So there are interpersonal barriers as well. Cultural barriers. Somebody does namaste, somebody shakes your hand. So like in COVID, everybody is doing namaste. So it depends, So somebody does like this. So all depends, the cultural. So you have to. Why I'm telling you this, because you'll be landing up into multinationals. You'll be landing up with a lot of different clients. You'll be maybe going for higher studies. Maybe few of them will be going for any course. It's your choice, maybe. So you'll meet different people. And why I'm telling you this is because communication is an important element everywhere, and you should break the barriers. And hence, I'm trying to cover this. So see, understand what are the styles now. So these are they were the barriers. Now we will discuss the styles of communication. So styles of communication means which are the ways, So see, again, style means, for example, you can see. So one is your needs means you are saying, others needs means the others is receiving. So there's one style is the assertive, which is always recommended. As you can see in the pie chart, from both of them, the overlapping part is the assertion, means the assertive. So in the communication part, it's very important for you to be assertive. And when you only speak about your own things, that's they call it aggressive, which is called akramik in Hindi. So aggressive is another style which is not recommended at times. So as you can see, there's also called passive aggression. So at times when maybe you are a senior so at times why your seniors are passive aggressive, because there are people who don't work and there are people who are lethargic. There are students who don't complete the task. At times this is needed, right? So this is just a pictorial representation to just to understand, right? So here we are not pinpointing any group or thing. We were just trying to understand so that you understand what communication is. And it helps you in multiple aspects. So there's another part which is submissive. Submissive means aggressive is the higher form. Assertion is speak what it is, and submissive just the lower part. So you have to understand what is being submissive, right? Again, so the most important part I would say in communication is not saying, but more than that is listening. So this listening is the key skill, not which a lot of people lack. So listening is a very, very, very important part of communication. So in people, those who are good listeners are more successful is what the survey says. So because in your team, if you listen more and speak sense, there are people who just speak. Even in group discussions, interviews, you have to speak. If you listen properly, what it is. Listening is not only with ears, but also with your eyes. Because you listen to what is, for example, there's a written format. There's a question paper, there's a mail. So you also listen with your head actually, but in the form of eyes as well, in the form of ears as well. So listening, understanding is very important, and then speaking. There are times in the GDs and stuff where you need to speak. But again, we'll discuss this tomorrow about GDs and PI, but in general format, listening is very important. Again, what are the types of communication? So there's a one-way communication wherein there's a guy who's speaking and the others are listening. And there's a two-way communication so two ways are always recommended. We have less time, otherwise we would have done a lot of activities on the same. Okay? So two-way communication again is an effective way of communication. Observation is a key skill in communication, which, as I said, you need to understand. Wherever you go, maybe in a surrounding or meeting somebody. So understanding, observing the surroundings speak a lot about the environment, speak a lot about people, speak a lot about their thought processes, right? Okay. Family interpersonal skills, relations also speak about a lot about the family. General. This was particularly related to some other COVID aspect where a lot of social workers were going on field. So we also were training them about we understand and assess there. So maybe this might not be directly relevant to you, but understanding is equally good. And understanding, asking the right questions in communication in particular context is very important. So there are open-ended questions and close-ended questions. So what do you mean by open-ended and close-ended questions? So open-ended question means, for example, I ask you, what do you call it? So how was your breakfast in the morning? So your answer will be, sir, the breakfast was nice. Well, what you had in the breakfast? So they are questions which will allow you, which will let you speak more, which are called open-ended. Closed-ended means, are you feeling good? So you will say either yes or no. So they are closed-ended questions. So you have to understand these are important aspects in when I talk about communication as a whole. So communication again was an important key um, um, part of today's session, and hence I thought of sharing few aspects about the same. Okay, so communication again. If I wrap up the communication part, if you don't have any questions, if you have any questions, you are free to ask. Right, the chat you can write in the chat column as well. So communication again has one way, two way. It has verbal, non-verbal. Non-verbal is an important part which you need to understand as well, and you also have to understand that communication again has multiple things in place. Listening is an important parameter. So which context you are fitting in, you have to understand and if you are aware about all these concepts, you can then act accordingly. Where to be assertive, where to be submissive and stuff like that. Right? Where should be passive aggressive? Right? So these are few parameters of communication which you, if you are aware. So when you land up into multiple streams, maybe higher studies, maybe corporate, maybe entrepreneurship, maybe you're pursuing your passion and stuff like that. Any which you need to discuss with your mentors, teachers, analyze, understand, note it down, talk to them. So wherever you land up, maybe in corporate, and again in corporate, maybe in core industry, maybe in IT industry, maybe in startup, maybe in or maybe you're going for an internship, maybe in your maybe in a networking company, communication company, maybe in a and maybe when you call your clients, maybe meet your clients, maybe when you discuss with your team mentors, maybe overall corporate environment and more overall work professional environment, or maybe your higher studies. If you're aware about the multiple aspects of communication, that will help you in multiple roles where you will cater to people and technology as well. So this was a brief about communication. So first was about your belief system. Next was about the SOC analysis, which I wanted to do after this activity. And third is about your communication, and a very important part. So till now, any questions? Any queries till now? Any questions? Okay. Okay. So now I'll just take 1 minute, and then we'll cover the last part, which is the corporate expectation. That what do they expect from you? Right. Just a minute. Yeah. Meanwhile, you can note it down, and if anybody has any questions or probably have to ask, say, discuss, any doubt, you're free to ask. Just give me a minute. Hello. Yeah. Okay. So apologies for the delay, guys. Okay. So the last part which was left was, as I said, is an important part, which is the corporate expectation. So guys, understand. So till now, any queries, any questions, any doubt you want to ask? Okay. Okay. So well, so understand, guys. Like it's related to the communication part, and before corporate expectation, I would like to say the word expectation. Right. So expectation again deals with two parties, right? So probably when you will be landing down to corporate or maybe higher studies or any college, or maybe like you have already entered this college, so there's always an expectation from the college end, or maybe will be from the corporate end, and similar will be your expectation from their end. So whenever you enter any corporate, any college, or maybe any stream which you need to analyze, understand, talk to mentors, and go ahead. So there you have to understand the expectation part. So there you have to understand the expectation part, that what you expect from the this thing, and what are they expecting from you. For maybe you are applying in a corporate environment, or maybe you are applying in a company, maybe an IT company, maybe a technology company, maybe a startup, uh, uh, maybe a manufacturing company, or maybe you call it a industry, or maybe a factory. There are people who apply for electronics company. There are people who apply for microprocessors. There are a lot of things these days. There are people who apply for social organizations. There are people who apply for different sectors. There are multiple, and which you need to explore, learn, see in depth, right? So again, so you have to understand the expectation of the company as a candidate, and the expectation of your role. Right, we will discuss this in much depth when we will discuss about interviews. But the brief which I wanted to tell you is, you have to understand. See, again, there are two aspects which I'll majorly cover. One is the core aspect. Core, as in, one is the core, means an aspect which every company wants. So what are those aspects? So if I talk about corporate expectations, so I am categorizing your skill sets, your expertise in two areas. One is the core, which core aspect deals with your confidence, your communication, your basic etiquettes, your basic skill sets, your eagerness to learn, your confidence, so on and so forth, right? And the other part is a variable part. Variable part varies with organization to organization. For example, if you're applying for IT company, so what will be their expectation? Their expectation will be, you have to understand the role. If they are asking for coders, they will want people who can sit more and have good logical skill set, and people those who have good coding skills, so on and so forth, right? And people, for example, you're applying for maybe a communication, maybe a marketing profile, so they want people with good create. So basic things everybody wants, like your confidence, eagerness to learn, your communication, your maybe your how you deal in a group. That is the reason. So how, what they see in a GD and in a PI, we'll discuss tomorrow and day after. But the basic things today I'm covering is, they will see how you deal in a group, how you speak, how much you listen. That is what they assess in aptitude, whether you have your basic aptitude or not, in a GD or in a PI. Are you eager to learn more? What are your, how is your aura? How are you dealing? And that is all being inculcated and improved by practicing, by being a part of a lot of organizations, by practicing a lot, by attending such webinars, practicing, making mistakes, learning, right? So understand, the core is required everywhere. Your basic skills, basic etiquettes are required everywhere, but variable means differs from context to context. For example, you're applying in a management, for example, you're applying in a management college, or maybe you're applying for a management role. So they will not focus much on technical skills, obviously. So, but obviously, if you have technicals, that will be an add-on. For example, the project which you are doing in the college is a big proof that what you have done practically, and that is the reason the interviewers focus much on your project details. But understand, for your first job, but understand, probably seeing to your profile, that is the reason they say understand, do SWOT analysis, understand, explore, and accordingly discuss with your mentors, and then make path. So wherever you apply, in whichever profile and a company you apply, they will understand, obviously they will understand your degree and the profile, and accordingly they will have that variable expectations. Means if you are applying for a computer profile, obviously in a computer again there are multiple profiles. If they are wanting coders, or if they are wanting developers, or if they are wanting project maybe executors, so you have to understand the core of the profile. And you have to understand what is their expectation. Means they will want people, those who are handy with computers, or maybe if they are wanting people with Excel skills. So get into depth of it and then understand it rightly. And probably by exploring, if you wish to get into multiple different area. So again, if you maybe apply for some different profile, maybe in some microprocessor company, or maybe in some automobile company. So their expectation will be that you have at least basic knowledge. And again, depends, basic knowledge about that particular profile or not. Right? Even though your stream is different, it also happen at times. But usually with their stream, they expect that you have at least basic knowledge of the same. So that they understand that what you have done in that some part of it. But if you are applying from some off context profile, so you should justify it if you have that, if you really want to apply for that. And if you have that knowledge and you can justify it, that no sir, my inclination is this side, and I have done that much research into the same. So maybe if you can justify it well with it. Right? Now understand one thing, if it is a startup, understand how many people they are going to hire. Right? Understand, because obviously if it is a startup, it will hire less people. And they get into much depth of things. If it is a multinational, they will hire more people and they will not get into much depth of things. That usually happens, but it differs from context to context. Obviously, if there are 1,000 people and they are here to hire 10 people, they will get into micro details, no very much depth. Because understand the work environment of a startup. Startup has less people. They need people with expertise in things. They need people. MNCs has a lot of projects. So they somehow this we also will discuss in the interview part. But majorly you have to understand the company size, the atmosphere, and the technology they're working on, the clients which they are working on, and accordingly their expectation is set. So the more you research about the organization, the more you research about the profile, you will understand their expectation. So basic expectation सबकी same रहेगी, और variable company to company differ करेगा, size, उनका project, उनका technology use, उनके clients, so on and so forth. So you have to basically understand that you have to learn the professional etiquettes. That is the reason communication I took. You have to, by practicing, you will learn. You will not only learn by listening, to work, speak, make mistakes, dare to do it, then it will come. So understand that you have to practice more, so it will help you. And we will, the basic gist will be discussed in the GDs also and the PIs also. And obviously we have separate motivational activities in the first half as well. Right? So understand by communication, seeing the size. So before that, the important part, hence I took SWOT analysis. Understanding self is very important, so that you map and make your ways ahead. You can discuss with mentors, teachers, and we are there, so that it helps you to have a proper direction for your help. Yeah. So this was just about the corporate expectation. Today I just covered the gist, the general part of it. Right? So generally communication, body language, basic is needed, is appreciated everywhere, because you are the same everywhere. But variable company differs from context to context, because obviously if it's a social organization, he will need more evidence related to the social context rather than the computer aspect. Simple. But if you are applying for a computer profile in a social organization, then you have to also understand the company and profile both. Simple. So there are people I have seen, they are applying in good positions in an NGO, but paid profiles, but as a computer guy. So obviously they need your computer expertise. Simple. So be smart enough to understand, and then accordingly the expectations will be set. Right. Any questions? So now 10 minutes we will go for the question answer round. Any queries, like any questions, feedbacks, stuff like that.
Thank you, sir, for your wonderful session.
And any
Now
questions,
we'll
you can ask them.
Yes, sir. Now we'll move towards question answer session. There are some questions asked by our students.
Yeah,
So
please.
shall I start with first question, sir?
Yeah.
So the first question was asked by our student is people often react on small things unnecessarily. Is it okay to react on small things when you are working in a firm with other professionals? Will that land a person in trouble?
So see again, small things means if it's really important. Sometimes small things are very crucial and important. So don't react. I will say respond. So if the things are very important, you please respond, but don't react. And don't react. Proact means understand and then respond.
Okay. So next question asked by a student um, is there any specific course by which we can develop communication skills? If yes, then can you suggest few of them?
So see, understand there are a lot of such programs happening, but I will suggest the basic things to understand improve communication is to do it. So may understand the gist of it and start doing it at multiple levels. Maybe in your classroom, maybe in your with your friends, maybe when you sit in the canteen. So ultimate thing to do communication is not to do a course. Yeah, course doing course is very important. Like you are doing a program here, very important. So there are a lot of such things there with a lot of such facilitators. But the main thing is to do it. So do it, understand your weaknesses and work on it. That's the core thing. Communication can never be learned by lecture. It has to be learned by doing it.
Okay, sir. So next question, how to stop thinking that what others will think about what we are doing?
So there's a saying, सबसे बड़ा रोग क्या कहेंगे लोग.
क्या कहें?
So see again, there are two types of people. जो बातें करते हैं और जिनके बारे में बात होती है. आप decide कर लो आपको किस बारे में सोचना है. So first, for that you have to be you have to be self-motivated and try to keep your mind in the present. Okay. So don't worry. See, people will anyway speak. So you have to retrain your mind, right? You have to train your mind. So understand, if you put your mind in the present, not much worry as to what will people think in your future and your past. So if you put your mind in the present, which is a big win if you do it, and it's really important. So if you put your mind in the present, that really helps. And don't see again, you have to train your brain. Don't think much about people. You have to just be in the present. So that always helps.
Okay, sir. Next question, how to develop body language?
So as I said, by practicing again. So I told you there are four parts of it. One is one is your what your eye speaks. Next is your facial expression. Next is your gestures, and then are your body postures. So you have to understand all four, and context to context, you have to. This happens by practicing. So the more you do your GDs, the more you do your practice, assess your weaknesses, assess your mistakes, and then work on it. By practicing is the key, right?
Okay. Next question, what are the greatest challenges to good communication?
See again, by not challenges, the biggest challenge to for communication is not practicing it. So again, one more, by so again, like lethargy. If your weakness is you are lethargic, so you don't want to practice more. By practicing, as I said, it will improve. And major challenges with the communication is it differs from verbal to non-verbal. So verbal again, because it has been years that we are speaking the same. But again, you don't have a practice to it. But also, आपको एक बात जाननी है कि you have not learned when you were born, right? When you were born, you were not aware about everything. You practiced and learned. So the
Yes.
practice is the key. So major challenge is if you don't practice, you are lethargic and you are not that much motivated. So communication challenges if you don't practice, it becomes challenging. The more you practice in verbal, non-verbal, practice is the key. Again and again, I'm saying, yeah. Making mistakes, daring to fail, doing again and again, assessing and going ahead is the key.
Okay, sir. So next question, is it more important to be a good listener or a good communicator?
So see, communicator is again, listening is a key part of communication. So both are important, but I think listening is more important. In a 60-40, I will say. Yeah.
Okay. Okay, sir. Next question, one usually wants to develop, if one usually wants to develop in a new job, then if that's in case, in which area should that be?
Job.
Yes.
So again, job also you have to understand. That is the reason we are doing SWOT analysis. Tomorrow we'll be doing a Joe Harry window. So that also will help you to know about your own self. So knowing your own self will help you to analyze which area you want to explore. So again, that is the reason they say do internships so that you learn more which profile has what detailed expertise. Talk to experts in that area. So pehle shortlist which areas you want to are your in the list. Which areas are in the list. Talk to their experts. Talk to people those who have worked in the industry. Do internships. Understand, analyze, and then choose. I cannot say go to this. You have to choose. I can only give you ways. This has this. This has this. Right.
So next question. I lost the confidence to communicate over others. One of our student has asked.
So see again, no worries with that. It's okay to make mistakes. You are not a machine. You are human making mistakes. But again, we are here to make mistakes and learn. Everything we have learned like that, right? Don't worry because you are special in your own way. Everybody has strengths. Everybody has weaknesses. That's life. Everybody has problems. That's life. You are strong in your own way. You are special in your own way. But understand your weaknesses. But you don't have to gain confidence over others. You have to just be confident by yourself. So this competition is to be more efficient, not to be over others. Competition is kept so that you become sharper, not to beat others. So obviously entrances and these exams are kept so that you improve more. Understand? Yeah.
Okay,
Work
sir.
on it. You will make it slowly, steadily. It's not a race. It's a marathon. Yeah.
Yes, sir. Okay, sir. We have lots of questions, but it will take time to discuss. So we will stop our session over here.
No
Thank you
worries. You
so
can
much,
keep
sir,
the
for your
so you can keep the
questions.
yeah, you can keep the questions. Maybe we have 2 more days. We can take
Yes.
extra time and solve. No worries.
Yes, sir. Okay. Thank you
Right.
so much, sir, for motivating and
All
guiding
good.
our student. So our day one session on communication skill and corporate expectation is ended over